So very, very good to be with you again. Bill Pfeiffer speaking from Marysfield. I just want to make sure that each time that we come together, that we're able to touch you with this podcast, and that you go away with something that's truthful, useful, and something good for your heart, your spiritual life, and something that you feel comfortable and free to share with other people so that you can become a change agent. You know, again, the people who are saying bad things, they have no problem with it. They're very vocal and they broadcast everything everywhere. So we who are trying to do some good things, we ought to try to do the same. I used to use this following piece with my students in class, and about a commitment to learning and to becoming a person who doesn't get involved in a kind of internal shoddiness, you know. And it also all applies to us in our own spiritual growth and development. We can all we can all settle. You know, it's hard to be good all of the time, and you know that, and I know that. Even the monks know that, and so it's a difficult thing to be faithful. And these words, "pretty good isn't good enough" by Charles Osgood, I think really touches us all. Even the good students. I usually had pretty good students in my class, but they'd go to lunch and they'd hear this kid saying, "Oh, I failed." Oh, the kid punch him in the rib and say, "Oh, I failed more than you failed," and you know, and you end up in that kind of sense of mediocrity, which really is no good for anybody. There once was a pretty good student who sat in a pretty good class and was taught by a pretty good teacher who always let pretty good pass. He wasn't terrific at reading, he wasn't a whiz-bang at math, but for him, education was leading straight down a pretty good path. He didn't find school too exciting, but he wanted to do pretty well. And he did have some trouble with writing, and nobody had taught him to spell. When doing arithmetic problems, pretty good was regarded as fine. 5 plus 5 didn't always add up to 10. A pretty good answer was 9. The pretty good class that he sat in was part of a pretty good school, and the student was not an exception. On the contrary, he was the rule. The pretty good school that he went to was there in a pretty good town, and nobody there seemed to notice he could not tell a verb from a noun. The pretty good student, in fact, was part of a pretty good mob, and the first time he knew what he lacked was when he looked for a pretty good job. It was then, when he sought a position, he discovered that life could be tough, and he soon had a sneaky suspicion pretty good might not be good enough. The pretty good town in our story was part of a pretty good state, which had pretty good aspirations and prayed for a pretty good fate. There once was a pretty good nation, pretty proud of the greatness it had, when it learned much too late. If you want to be great, pretty good is in fact pretty bad. You can never whitewash everybody with the same brush, and I'm certainly not intending to do that here. All students, all teachers, all schools are certainly not like this, and you know, you even though our schools pretty much don't rank so well throughout the rest of the world, and with the number of students continuing to decrease as the population increases, as the abortions increase, there's a strong bargaining for students on college campuses, and you can be pretty sure that means standards will be lowered in order to accept more kids, and it always comes down to money. We got to keep the rooms filled, and somehow or other, competence sometimes isn't always the most important thing. So, you know, for each of us, we need to be involved all that we can in trying to make sure things continue, and that means your prayer life. You know, you need to be able to continue to spend time growing yourself so that you can be changed and transformed, which is always the message, and that spills over again, really with great effluence into the life of the people that are surrounding you. Remember, your prayer is, and this is not again to schmooze you, Lord, help me to understand the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. That is the truth, you know, and we don't want to have any kind of mediocrity or feelings of insecurity bump into that reality that allows us to be comfortable in our own skin so that we're able to share that with other people freely. Be a sharer. Happiness tomorrow begins by doing the truth today, and it's the truth for everybody else as well. Good to be with you again. Looking forward to being with you again on this podcast in the very near future. Peace to you all. God bless.